Have you ever thought about what is it that makes an image objectively good? I mean, because some of the images that you see online or in art galleries and so on are like objectively actually good. So what is it that is so universal that everyone can see that this is a good image? Of course, this is subjective and depends on what kind of photography it is, but I thought about it and there must be something out there that makes an image objectively actually good. So I asked myself, what is the single most important aspect of making a good image? But of course I couldn't answer that myself, so I did what any sensible human would do and asked ChatGPT. He answered that blah blah blah, a good image is challenging due to subjective nature, blah blah blah. But however, one aspect that frequently emerges as a critical across various types of photography and visual art is composition. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. And if there is one thing that you should improve to get better at photography, then it is composition. Therefore, I have compiled a list of my top tips for how to take your composition to the next level. And the first one being rule of thirds. So imagine your image being divided into 9 equal segments by 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines, and then placing important compositional elements on those lines or in the intersections of one of those 2 lines. This can create some more tension than just having the subject in the middle of the photo, but it can also be a good way to balance your frame. So using the rule of thirds is one way to improve your composition. Number 2 is going to be leading lines, and by using natural lines within the image to lead the eye to the main subject can create a sense of depth and perspective in the image. These leading lines will also unconsciously, for the viewer, lead their attention or their viewing, it will lead them to look at the subject. So when you're trying to compose a photo, try to look for lines that lead towards your subject. And the third compositional hack or tip is to use symmetry and patterns. And that is because as humans, we are drawn towards looking at patterns or symmetry. This is also a great technique if you're trying to create an image that feels visually balanced. That's because patterns and symmetry is repetitive in its nature, and this leads to an image that feels well balanced. And these tips that I'm giving you right now, it's not like these are like made up by photographers in the last 5 years or something. These are techniques that have been used for hundreds of years. Just take this example from Piranesi. It might not be a photograph, but it still uses the same techniques and thought processes behind the compositional elements. For example, it uses depth in the image by using a foreground, a middle ground, and then a background. And by using these 3 different elements, you are able to create more depth in the photo and therefore make it more visually compelling. And then when it comes to my last tip for great compositions, it is going to be to use minimalism, or rather the use of negative space. And what I mean about this is the importance of removing things from your image that doesn't really need to be there. So you have probably seen a lot of these images where there is actual minimal amounts of things inside of the frame, and the reason why these feel really good to watch or look at is because you have removed all of the distracting parts. So by working with negative space and minimalism, you eliminate all of the distractions and therefore can draw all of the attention or the focus in the image towards your subject. And those were my top tips if you want to improve your composition as a new and beginner photographer and as a seasoned one as well, because I think the most important thing about a good image is to work with the composition. But in this short video, I just quickly mentioned each and every one of them. So if you are interested in a specific one, if you want me to dive deeper into them, please let me know down in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.